So this is an overview of the AIDEAL search tool, and we're just going to start with an opening comment and a context diagram to just position the tool in your enterprise environment, which covers systems and information and also the workers. So this is an AI-driven tool that basically takes client, candidate, and job role information and smashes it all together to come up with a psychological assessment of both the candidate and the role, and then do a match. So ultimately this thing drives towards getting qualified candidate shortlists so that you can get to market quicker by interviewing, evaluating, and placing candidates into particular roles. Being an AI tool, it's driven by prompts, and it's a tool that actually generates a lot of data, very insightful data, but that requires harvesting, and that is the constant iteration and analysis of what questions are being asked, what responses are being generated, and ultimately how they drive success. And that criteria to ask better questions and to make better evaluations is something that then improves the prompts, which are literally the instructions and the questions that we ask of the AI. So from a contextual point of view, the AIDEAL search tool is positioned in the middle. It will interface typically with your existing systems, namely your CRM and your ATS, and those interfaces will be carrying candidate and client data in real time, and ultimately resumes in either real time or batch time. It's completely configurable for any type of system, including SharePoint and the likes of any information source, such as a file system or a database. But it can also accept resumes from any particular candidate facing interface, like a website or even a mobile interface. It's designed with open APIs, so it's completely flexible, and it will fit in between any of the major systems to really bring the power of AI into that decision making. So following the diagram, we can also see up the top that there's a candidate interface, and that's there because it opens up possibilities for candidates to actually do mock interviews or even use some of the digital assistants, which can give them expert information on aspects of their performance, their resumes, their careers, or general questions that you want to ask that can sometimes maybe take up time of a search consultant. And we all know that the search consultants are going to be pursuing the roles to make the placement, to earn their money, and then ultimately the top level candidates that they perceive as to be the best fit. But what if that busyness is actually bypassing the ability to see someone who's not on their radar? Then these tools ultimately give the ability to get to that information on a broader basis in a quicker manner. So the functions to the right of the main interface is the dashboards, the candidate shortlists, the role and the candidate analysis, the psychometric testing, and the mock interviews. These are some of the functions that we're going to go through in the actual tool. And ultimately, they produce a candidate shortlist. They also give us resume and candidate analysis. They give us insights across candidates, across opportunities. The insights can actually be questions that we need to ask to get to the right candidate. We may completely miss things because of the haste at which we need to act, or maybe the limited amount of candidates that we've seen, or maybe it's too many. But to get to to get across a couple of hundred candidates in this kind of time takes less than 30 minutes. So ultimately, these all produce reports and data which can go back into the system. They can go back into any particular productivity tool like Microsoft Office or your CRM or the ATS, and ultimately give feedback back to the clients and the candidates. But importantly, it also goes back into the prompt refining, which keeps our questions on edge and the best result that we can generate. So this is how it sits into the business, completely flexible. We just want to also iterate that this is not an out-of-the-box tool. It actually does require to be integrated into your workflow. And the reason why it is like this is because AI is slowly pervading and taking over so much of our workforce, particularly in process-driven work. And so the whole idea is not to see this replace people, but to augment the way we do work. And by such, we need to actually sit it side by side and integrate it into the ways of working of your particular organization, and then see where it adds the most value in taking away some of the administrative work and replacing it with that higher value analysis or candidate and client facing time. Thank you.